I just finished my last final, truck's all packed up, already checked out of my dorm, and now finally, after 9 long months, I am embarking on a 22-hour road trip to return to Yellowstone National Park. As I said, it's been 9 months since I left a dream life in Yellowstone last summer to return back to school, and going back to Yellowstone is practically all I've thought about since. Don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed my time back at home and appreciate the great opportunities that I got to explore other areas around here. But the greater Yellowstone ecosystem is my favorite place on earth, and I am beyond ready to be back. This time, I'm doing things a little bit differently. I'm not going to be starting my job in Yellowstone immediately, and instead, I'll be truck camping around the parks for the next 3 weeks. May is the best month of the year for grizzly bear activity, and as you guys know, grizzlies are my very favorite subjects to photograph. So I really want to capitalize on this short window where they are super active and make sure that I'm out there in the park for that entire time, as opposed to working in the store. Additionally, Yellowstone and Grand Teton still get the occasional snowstorm in May, and one of my absolute dream shots is to get a tight shot of a grizzly bear with a light snowfall around it on eye level, background blur around it, just a beautiful shot. And I'm hoping, since I'll be out in the parks every single day, all day, shooting wildlife for these first 3 weeks, I'll be able to capture that dream shot. So I've driven past the St. Louis Arch multiple times before, but never stopped there. So this time, I think I will. After all, I am currently on a journey to move west permanently. I don't plan on leaving Yellowstone after this season, so isn't it fitting to stop at the gateway to the West Arch? After leaving the arch, I started to really put the miles in, only stopping for gas and for dinner. Well after dark, I made it past Kansas City, almost to Nebraska, where I would be staying for the night. Now, my plan was to wake up early, eat a quick breakfast, and hit the road, making it to Wyoming well before dark. But... and it's all gone. I got robbed last night. And yeah, I mean, all my outdoor clothes, you know, hundreds of dollars worth of like nice outdoor clothes that you need for going out into the weather and doing photography. All my t-shirts from different places I've been, all my shorts, everything besides the dirty clothes in this bag and this fleece liner and then rain jacket. So that's going to be helpful at least, but they took all the rest of my clothes. I have nothing else. What an awful way to start the day, and an awful way to start the first full day of my second summer adventure to Wyoming. I was honestly feeling so down. I didn't have the money to buy all this back, and while thankfully my parents and my grandparents were going to help me get back what I really needed, this was still going to be such a setback financially. I was sure I'd have to scrap my entire plan that I've been working on and saving money for the last 11 months. This whole plan that I had to truck camp around the parks during the peak of grizzly bear activity and get to photograph them in the snow, I thought I was going to have to scrap all of it. But then you guys saw my Instagram story, and all of a sudden people found my Venmo and started asking for my PayPal, and donation after donation started rolling in. And thanks to friends, family, and all of you all, my followers, I was able to get together enough money to buy back almost all of my clothes. I started out the day with a loss of faith in humanity, but man, did you guys really restore it by the end of the day. So after a lot of clothes shopping, I got back on the road again for what would end up being a pretty uneventful drive. Just mile after mile after mile of highway, shooting straight across the flat expanse of plains that cover the state of Nebraska. Unfortunately, due to the clothing issues, I didn't end up making it to Wyoming that night, so I got up early the next morning to get a head start and started by doing a bit more shopping to get together enough warm clothing for the wintry weather that lay ahead in the Tetons and Yellowstone. I was able to get back on the road pretty early, and then finally I made it to the Wyoming state line. Alright guys, I just crossed the Wyoming state line. So excited, feels so good to be back finally. And in just a few hours I will be back in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem looking for grizzly bears. So here we go. After an insanely stressful past 24 hours, things were starting to look up. I was almost back to my favorite place on earth, and thanks to the insane outpouring of support and generosity from everyone, I bought back all the clothes necessary for the winter weather ahead. Seriously, thank you all so much again. Alright guys, I'm here in Du Bois, Wyoming. This is the last town before we cross over into the Tetons, go up and over this mountain range, and then I'll drop down into Grand Teton National Park, and we're going to find some grizzly bears to photograph. So I'm so excited guys. Let's get on the road and find us some bears. And now, with much anticipation, I headed back into the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. When I arrived, there was only an hour or so of daylight left. I thought I wasn't going to get anything today, but thankfully, just before dark, the grizzly bears delivered. So guys, as you saw, I had my first grizzly bears of the trip last night. So amazing. They weren't out for long, but just being able to see a grizzly bear again and to photograph them and get video and all that and be that close to them was so awesome. So successful first night, but I went out this morning and I didn't see anything. Now I'm going to reorganize the truck, and then I've got to go down to Jackson to pick up a few more things. Then after that, finally, hopefully before sunset, I can be back out in the park looking for bears again. After the trip to Jackson, I was back in the park before sunset. And once again, Mama and her cubs gave me an incredible experience. After spending a few hours with the bears, I headed to tonight's camp spot, which ended up coming with one of the most beautiful views I'd ever seen of the Tetons. And on the way there, I got to photograph an animal for the first time that I've wanted to photograph for such a long time, the American badger. Let me interject here to remind you all that I'm going to be giving away a free trip to Alaska where you and I will go to Lake Clark National Park to photograph coastal Alaskan brown bears when I hit 10,000 subscribers. All you have to do for a chance to enter is be a subscriber to the channel, and then when I hit 10K, I'm going to select a winner. So you guys know what to do. Hit that subscribe button down below, and then when we hit 10K, join me in Alaska. I got a short night's rest, then got back into the park to look for bears again. It was a pretty uneventful day overall, but just before sunset, I found one of my very favorite local bears that I had been dying to see once again. The first grizzly bear that I ever photographed, named Bonita. was out for about an hour, and man, was it awesome to get to spend that time with her. However, despite all these awesome bear encounters, it still hadn't snowed yet, and I still hadn't gotten that dream shot of a bear in the snow that I was looking for. So before I went to bed that night, I looked at the forecast for the next few days. For the next 10 days, there was only one day in which it was supposed to snow, and that day was tomorrow. So with that in mind, I got up early and shot straight up to where Bonita hangs out. I knew if I was going to get this shot today, she would be the bear that would be most likely to deliver the opportunity. Almost immediately, she came out and began foraging. After spending a few minutes with her, the snow began to fall. She disappeared into the forest for a bit, then popped back out on the other side. By now, a huge bear jam had formed, despite the snow. I knew if I was going to get this shot, I was going to have to go ahead of the crowd and predict where Bonita would come. That way, I would be in the perfect position when she came out. So, I got in my truck and drove ahead of the bear jam. I got out, opened the passenger door, and sat on the ground at the base of it. I waited for the next 15 or 20 minutes as Bonita slowly made her way in my direction, the crowd following behind her. The snow was falling, Bonita was on the move, I was on the ground so I would be eye level with her, and I was prepared to take the perfect shot. All that had to happen was Bonita had to go where I hoped she would, and I was going to get a dream shot of mine. And thankfully, she did. I spent the next 5 hours watching and photographing Bonita in the snow. And while I got a few more photos I liked, none compared to that brief moment I had spent with her earlier. What an exhilarating, rewarding experience, and what an incredible opportunity to get to spend so much time in the presence of this magnificent grizzly bear. With that shot in the bag and an epic few days of wildlife photography in the Tetons behind me, I decided it was time to head up to Yellowstone for a week or so. There are opportunities up there that I'm super excited about as well, so it's time to go after them. But that's for next vlog. For now, I can end this vlog saying that from being robbed to capturing a dream shot, it's been an insane journey of ups and downs as I returned to the West. But finally, we begin another epic summer in paradise on Earth.